Hello students. Last year you must have studied about different internal organs in your 5th standard. Can you identify some of these internal organs? I'm sure you recognize some. Yes, they are heart, intestines, kidneys, liver and lungs. Last year you have also studied about their functions and where they are placed. Into which body cavity they are present. Can you recollect? Yes. Heart does the function of circulation, lungs for respiration, intestine helps in digestion, and our brain coordinates with all body functions. Do you remember where they are present? Heart in thoracic cavity, lungs also in the same place, intestines in abdominal cavity, and brain in cranial cavity. Now you see all these internal organs are having their specific position. I'm trying to place them. It may not be accurate, but more or less they are placed like this in our body. You see a person, if he's standing like this, these are internal organs are positioned in such a manner. Why I am showing this to you, you will understand in a little while. Now let us have a look at a video. Dear students, when I go to school, I always carry two blue pens and other pens, then pencil, eraser, pen pencil, ruler, nibs, highlighters. It comes handy whenever you need. Glue stick also, you will never know when it comes handy, and sketch pens. Imagine if I have to carry all of them in my hands and walk along with the bag and other things, they are going to fall down. If I carry a pouch, and then I can keep them sorted, whatever I want I can remove easily, and then the best part is it won't fall off. So students, what can we infer from the previous video? If the stationaries are not kept in the pouch, they won't be safe, they will fall off and they won't remain intact. Similarly, what if all the internal organs are placed without a skeleton? Will they remain in their place? Don't you think they will move and shake? That's why the skeletal structure protects the integrity of all the internal organs. It helps them to remain in its place, not to fall off or move around. Now place your hands on your skull and you can feel how hard it is. Now imagine your head has brains without a covering, that is without the skull. If you can feel the brain, can you imagine your condition? So many times we fell down during our childhood, even now also people fall, and nothing happened to our brain. Our skull protected it with minor injuries. What would happen if there was no skull? There won't be any protection for our brain, which is one of the important vital organs in our body, controls the entire body. That's how each organ is kept safe by the bones and the entire skeletal structure. So bones keep all the internal organs in place and offers protection. That's what we are going to study today. We will study about the skeletal system from the lesson Our Skeletal System and the Skin. If a person falls down, what gets fractured? Is it the skin, hair, nails, or bones? What do you think? Yes, it is the bone that gets fractured when someone falls down. Many a times we have come across our friends who have, plasters in their hand and they hang their hand around the neck with a thread. Have you come across like that? I'm sure you must have seen. So when a bone is broken due to an accident, it is called fracture. And then what happens is it causes severe and unbearable pain, and that part also swells immediately. Students, if your friend falls down and he catches his leg and cries bitterly, how would you help? What would you do? There are certain precautions you must take when someone falls down and cries, catching leg or hand. What you must do immediately is prevent any movement of the fractured part. If the hand is fractured, if you think, see to it that the hand is not moving, not moved, then you have to immobilize that part by tying some, keeping it closer to some hard material. Take him to the hospital, and then x-ray is taken. Of course, you don't have to take, doctor will do that. X-ray of the swollen part is taken, and x-ray will show the exact spot if the bone is broken. I am sure you have seen this x-ray film sometime or the other. That reminds me of Dr. Roentgen. He is the first person to discover X-ray. X-ray was discovered actually by accident. He didn't want to find about X-ray. He was doing some other physics experiment and accidentally discovered X-ray. X here denotes unknown rays. He gave a name. X means unknown. He did not know the name, but we continue to call it X-ray. He found some unknown electromagnetic rays penetrating some material, but they are not penetrating into some other kind of material. Then he realized its medical importance. He took an X-ray of his wife's hand. You can see here on the slide. That is the world's first X-ray film. So students, we are now going to learn more about these bones, and we shall learn them through an activity. For that, I hope you remember I told you all to get 12 cards with white paper stuck on it. On 5 of them, you'll have to write rural, on other 5 urban. We will use them as we go along with this lesson. Bones play an important role in the structural integrity of our body. A fracture can cause tremendous pain and swelling. Why do we feel the pain if the bone is fractured? Because it is also a living tissue in our body. Students, the main constituent of bone, that is, the bone is made up of calcium. There are a lot of food items that consist of calcium, but we need vitamin D to absorb this calcium into the body, and then the bloodstream deposits calcium in the bones. Now I am going to show you a video that consists of food that are rich sources of calcium. You must watch that video very carefully because the upcoming activity is based on that. As I said earlier, calcium is absorbed by the body only in the presence of vitamin D. And vitamin D is the only nutrient that our body produces when exposed to sunlight. Now I'm going to show you certain sources of vitamin D, and again watch this video carefully. The upcoming activity is based on this video as well as the previous video. I hope you remember those sources. Now we get into the activity. This is the time to use the cards that you all had prepared. So you pull out two rural cards and two urban cards, and you will write calcium on one rural and urban card and vitamin D on other rural and urban card. Now what you have to do is list down, or write down the list of easily available sources of these nutrients, calcium and vitamin D, in rural as well as urban areas. The sources will be different or it could be same. You can list down maximum 3 to 4 on each card. I'm going to give you 20 seconds to complete this. Your time starts now. You may stop now. We will see the list at the end of the class. So students, now you saw a list of food items that are rich sources of calcium and also other things that are good sources of vitamin D. But apart from these food items, there are other things that are required for bone development and bone growth. If you want a stronger bone, you have healthy food, then do what is coming up now. Those are exercises and physical activities that also helps in bone development. Now we will look at the video again. Watch carefully because the second activity is based on this video.
How to improve bone health. Bones are living tissue that respond to their environment. They have nerves, blood vessels, and marrow, which is important for production of blood cells. Bones are always tearing down and rebuilding themselves in a process known as remodeling. So how can you improve bone health? Number 1, get more active. If more physical demands are placed on a bone, it will become thicker and stronger. And if less and less physical demand is placed on a bone, it will lose bone mass and become weaker. So bones last longer if you stress them. Weight-bearing exercises such as resistance training are beneficial, as are activities such as walking and jogging, as well as sports like tennis and basketball, where you're moving in multiple directions. Being overweight puts more stress on bones when performing everyday movements, which over time can lead to bones breaking down and fracturing. Being underweight can be harmful as well. Most people that are underweight have a much lower bone density, making bones more fragile and increasing the chances of fractures.
Hope that video was clear enough. And now again we come to the second activity based on that video. You will use another set of cards, two with rural title, two with urban title. And now what you will do is, on the rural you will write positive activities on one card and negative activities on another card. Similarly on the urban also positive and negative activities. And now what you have to list down is activities of urban and rural people that would contribute to bone development. It could be any kind of activities in village or in the city. Then on the other set of cards, you will write down activities that would have negative effect on bones. What could be that? I'll show you one example. This is an article that came few years ago on Indian Express. It mentions that high heels can cause major joint problems because while on that image you see on the screen, when a person wears high heels, the legs are not flat, it is raised, so it can affect the joints. This is one example of negative effects on the bones. You can think of other things in a rural as well as urban context and fill that card. Again, I'm going to give you 20 seconds and your time starts now. You may stop now. We saw that bones protect the internal organs of the body and how food helps in its growth, plus other activities that can either have negative effect or positive effect. There is another thing that bone does, that is, it gives shape to our body. If I show you the bone, you will recognize the animal. What is it? Have you seen Jurassic Park? Yes, it is a dinosaur. This is It's a horse. This is easy to identify. It's a fish. From the bone, we can identify the animal. The skeleton gives shape to the body. We saw that bones play a vital role in the lives of not only human beings but also in animals. It is important that we take care of our bones and not neglect it, because a recent study shows that 1 in 4 women in India suffer from osteoporosis. Another study, recent one, shows that not only women but men in India also reported high incidence of osteoporosis. Now, what is this osteoporosis? It means porous bones, bone with holes, hollow ones. It's a disease in which the density of the bone or the quality of the bones are reduced or gets damaged, and bones become porous and fragile like glass. What will happen to a glass if you drop it down? It will break immediately. So when the bones become fragile, the risk of its fracture also increases. The loss of bone occurs silently and progressively. There are no symptoms. The first symptom would be the first fracture. Then you go to doctor and doctor identifies as osteoporosis. Now we come to our third activity, and for this you will use two cards, one urban card and one rural card. And what you have to do on this is, after going through all that we have studied, you will write down either a piece of advice or suggestion to whoever deserves, if a rural person or a urban person, or you will appreciate the efforts taken by rural or urban person. In your opinion, whoever deserves that. So you decide whom you want to give suggestion and advice, or whom you want to appreciate for doing the right thing. I'm giving you 20 seconds again. Your time starts now. So students, today we have studied about the purpose of bones, its function, the main constituents of bones. We also saw the food sources and the ways of improving bone health. Here comes the last activity. Still you have got two more cards left. On one of the cards you will write daily activities as the title, and then you will list down activities that you will be doing in the coming days which are good and useful for strengthening of your bones. Finally, for your assignment, you will make use of the last card that is left. You still have the last card. What you will do is you will write down a title, My Unhealthy Food Habits. It could be either consuming with something with less calcium or no calcium, or not taking any calcium food at all. So those are unhealthy food habits. So you will list down what are those, and also you will write down how you are going to overcome. If it is not fitting in the card, you can make use of another extra paper. So thank you, students. We will study more about bones and its different types in the next lesson. Till then, thank you.